Hello and welcome to another episode of the Six and Out podcast brought to you by Sports News Blitz. I'm Bilal and this is the show where we talk everything cricket. Well, Dejan, it's been a long season, but we're down to the final week of group phase games in this IPL 2026 season. It's been a long journey for a lot of these teams, and for three of these teams, they've booked their place into the playoffs. I mean, Dejan, I'll start with your team, with Royal Challengers Bengaluru, the champions from last season. They were the first team to qualify, currently sitting top with 18 points. First of all, how do you feel about, obviously, RCB winning back sort of that momentum that may have been lost partway through the season, but it seems like they've just picked themselves up and then their players have been in good form. I mean, how pleasing is it to see RCB on top at the moment?
Yeah, massive. If you'd have told me like 7 years ago as an RCB fan that we'd be in this position where we'd be like dominating at top of the table, I would have like slapped you in the face because that was such a horrible time. But no, it's great. It's great, after all this time to finally have a like just have a period where we're actually just like dominating. And I mean, the way we just talked about like that struggle in the middle, them two losses against GT and LSG really set us back. But I just think to beat Mumbai the way we did, I think it was just like a reset, and it was just like, right, let's go again. And then I think the last two games we've looked so good against KKR, and then of course against Punjab. And we're pretty much not guaranteed, but top two is pretty much a certainty because of how good our net run rate is. We're going to have to like drastically lose against SRH to get knocked off that top two. But yeah, I'm just very happy. I'm very happy as an ICB fan to be in this position that we're in now. But it's only the start because we have to go on and go into the qualifiers and win.
Yeah, very fitting that they managed to beat last year's finalists in Punjab, who are going through right now, and we'll get onto that. But yeah, just winning that game comfortably. And I just want to go back to the KKR game. I mean, we saw Virat Kohli back to his best, a century. If there was one sort of area of concern with the batting, it may have been the openers. I know with Salt being injured and Bethel coming in, and Kohli getting sort of starts, but he finally converted into a big one. I mean, how pleasing was it to see as an RCB fan to see Kohli get a 100 once again?
I think just as an India fan as well, it's just great. Um, yeah, it was just very important because it's been great seeing him in this tournament, like play more aggressively and really get the innings going. But it also has been a bit frustrating that I feel like he's thrown it away a lot of times. But he's just been doing what I think has been best for the team. But against KKR, it's just he looked in complete control, and even in the last game against Punjab, he's just the shots that he plays are just you can't even describe how good they are. The timing that he has, he has more talent than anyone batting wise than in world cricket at the moment. So I mean, yeah, the guy's one of the best to ever do it, and his quality shines through every time. Even when he's going through tough periods, his quality will always shine through.
Absolutely. And to think, coming up against a KKR team who had won four in a row on the bounce, it's never easy against a team that has looked a lot better than they did at the start of the season. And then having to play a Punjab team to sort of secure qualification, who were sort of desperate for a win. And at times were fighting and did push RCB. But like I said, the firepower and the quality that we've seen all season from this RCB team, it's shone through. And it's been too much for some of these teams.
Definitely. I think, yeah, it's just, as I say, it's just the quality. I go back to the coaching and the decisions that they made in the auction, like the mega auction, like last 2 years ago. It was so important in terms of just getting experienced players, getting players that have won tournaments, and just getting really good quality players. Look at the bowling. I mean, the bowling's really stood out in this tournament. Bhuvaneshwar has had a stellar tournament with the ball. Hazelwood's been very, very good. I think Rasik Dar's been a fantastic investment. And of course, Krunal Pandya and Suyash Sharma, they've got really good experience in that team, and they've got winners in that team. And I think that's why it's always changed, because in the past it's always been about Coley and De Villiers and Gales and Shahals, that four players can win you games and stuff, but they can't win you tournaments. But whereas now it just feels like the whole squad is contributing. Even the ones that only get the odd games, of like Venkatesh Iyer got player of the match in the last game, scored a brilliant 70, and he's barely played this tournament. Shows you the quality that they have and the intelligence in auctions to buy the right players. And it shows you how important that is to win a tournament. So, yeah, they've gotten it right so far in this tournament. They got it right last season as well. And, yeah, it's just looking very good as an RCB fan.
Yeah, and then their final game is against SRH, who are another team that qualified. And I just want to get your perspective, because it is likely between Gujarat or Sunrisers Hyderabad for that second place spot, or for another top two spot. Who would you rather face in that qualifier one when it comes to it? I mean, you'll get a taste against SRH, and then you may end up having to play them again, or a Gujarat team. I mean, we remember Shubman Gill, I think he scored a century to knock RCB out, I think 23 or 24.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
So who would you pick out of the two if you had to pick? I know it's always difficult because you have to beat everyone pretty much to win the trophy.
I think this next game against our final game against SRH, that'll go a long way in me answering this, because we lost against Gujarat earlier in the season, and Gujarat have a very good squad of players and a lot of them are in form. But you look at SRH's batting, it's just you know, Travis Head and Abhishek and those the kind of players, they had failures against us in the first game, but you wouldn't want to come up against them if they're playing like that. So I'd maybe go with Gujarat again, but Gujarat's bowling is so strong. And the fact that a lot of them players are getting in form as well, like Rashid Khan, it's hard to go against them. But I'd probably just go Gujarat because SRH is, because of how powerful SRH's batting is.
Yeah.
It will cause us a lot of problems, definitely.
Yeah, and then just on Sunrisers Hyderabad, they managed to beat the Chennai Super Kings to sort of secure them and Gujarat qualification. And as we've talked about like throughout the episodes, the sort of rise of this SRH team from where they were from the first 4 or 5 games, bringing youngsters in, the captain Pat Cummins coming in. It's just been a revelation just seeing this Sunrisers team compete and be successful in competing.
Yeah, because it's all come down to the change in the bowling. And, you know, I said it, the batting was always going to win them games. It was always going to win. But based on what I saw off that first 3 or 4 games with the bowling attack that they had at the start of the season, I feel like SRH was just trying and score big scores with the bat and then get the bowlers to try and just defend that. But it would be a lot easier for them to defend like scores of 240, 250, 260 and stuff. But it feels like since they got the bowling and they changed the bowling round, bringing in the likes of Harsh Dubey, Praful Hinge, I think Shivang was a very good player at the start of the season. He hasn't played as much recently. I think getting Issam Malinga in form, Cummins coming back, Sakib Hussain as well. I feel like they've gotten so much more balance with the bowling, and now it's allowed them to win games. Their bowlers have allowed them to win games as well. It's not just been because the batting's been so strong. And I think the bowlers, as I said, they've contributed the batters so well in this tournament, because even if they're chasing a score, they're giving them a decent score to chase anyway. They're not just giving them like a massive score that SRH need to chase down, that SRH batters would have to chase down, putting more pressure on them. They're giving their batsmen so much support because of how good their bowling has been and how improved their bowling has been. So, yeah, they're looking a very, very strong side because of how good, how important the changes were and how good the changes have been, especially in the bowling aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it is the bowling, because it's almost like night and day from where they were from the start to now as well. And it was interesting in that CSK game because I think at the toss, Ravi Shastri did ask the captain, Rasaraj Gaikwad, where's Dhoni? And then Pat Cummins, he's sort of there in the background, sort of observing it. And obviously, he's known as a silencer for a reason, as Indian fans know, in Ahmedabad a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like handling the pressure moments because that was a tricky game as well.
Yeah.
Playing away at Chepauk, sort of the whole crowd against you. And we saw the emotion when they got the result. We saw like some Ishan Kishan and whatnot all fired up as well. So you could tell it definitely meant a lot for this SRH team, given what they've been through, and for them to make it. And what's even more impressive is that there's a chance of them finishing in the top two, depending on the game against RCB as well. So overall, it's just been like a revelation in terms of how good they've become and how strong of a force they could be in the playoffs.
Exactly, because at the start of the tournament, everyone pretty much writ them off after like the first two games, or the first game against RCB when they chased down 200 effortlessly, because they were like, yeah, the bowling's just not good enough, the bowling's not good enough. But as I said, once they got the turnaround right, the batting was always going to win them games. I've said that so many times. They have one, if arguably the best batter, top 7 in the tournament. But it was always going to be the bowling that was going to be the problem. But once they got that right, they're looking so much more stronger as a team. And now, they can go into those qualifiers with so much confidence, knowing that, say even if the bowlers have an off day, if you're the opposition, you score like 220, 230, you still feel like that might not be enough against an Abhishek Sharma, Travis Head, a Heinrich Klaassen, an Ishan Kishan. So it just shows you the strength they have, where if the bowlers might have an off day, the batters will get them out of trouble. But if the batters maybe have an off day, the bowlers shown that they're capable of getting them out of trouble as well. The big thing is, I think, is just going to be for a lot of those bowlers like your Issam Malingas and your Hingays and your Saqib Hussains, and maybe your Harsh Dube's and others. They are still quite inexperienced. So I think playing in a final is a different kind of. It's going to be a different kind of atmosphere playing in like these kind of qualifiers, where now, if you lose, it's pretty much done. So they're going to have to handle that pressure. But with the way they've played, you wouldn't put it past them to maybe even get to the final.
Yeah, definitely. And just for CSK, I mean, that result definitely hurt them because, in a way, they've got to win their final game, and they've got to hope other results go their way as well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, just in terms of the scenarios and how things could play out, I mean, is it essentially tournament over? I mean, do you see any way that CSK can maybe clinch fourth?
Well, they're going to have to beat Gujarat strong, like dominantly, and they're going to have to pray that other teams don't win. It's that simple. But they're just. My thing with CSK is it's just, they've played much better since like the start of the tournament. Losing 3 games in a row, I think everyone written them off. They've done really well to come back from that. But that SRH game, that was a game they just needed to win. That desperately. I don't know why Ruturaj chose to bat first. That decision still baffles me. I had no clue why they did that. And even him with the bat, I know obviously he got a lot of criticism for the way he batted. But it shows you that even if it's like you can't win the toss and bat first and then score 15 off 21. that just can't be happening. It feels like batting wise, they've been quite reliant on Sanju Samson getting them off to good starts. I think Gaikwad's done well in terms of chasing when the pressure's kind of been off him a bit more. But when it comes to batting first, they've needed Samson to get him off to good starts, and he did. But they needed him to go on and make it a big score, and he didn't. So I just feel like they've gotten key moments wrong, especially in that SRH game that they needed to win. But just in the tournament in general, they've gotten key things wrong. Which, it's a young team. They'll learn from it for next season. But especially for this season, I think they'll look at it as something that could have been much better than what I think it has become.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another Indian player who has struggled is Shivam Dubey down the middle order. He's sort of been that player that may not have sort of finished games that have given the scores the CSK would have liked, particularly in that game against SRH as well. And as you mentioned, it is a young team. We saw in the auction them signing the 2 youngsters, and they featured like Prashant Veer as well. So yeah, it's a team you want to look forward to in the next season. It will be interesting to see how they go about in terms of signings, who they retain. I'm not saying as in it's a farewell to them because there is still a chance yet. But like you mentioned, that SRH game, it was just a big game, especially against a team that's above them as well, just to drag them into the race. It just does feel it has just slipped away.
Key thing about next season, I will say it. Will MS only play next season? That's the big question. I say it every year. But the
I'm
fact that he
confident
didn't
he's not
play,
going to play at all. Yeah, for this season
the
anyway.
fact the fact that he didn't play their final home game at Chennai makes me think he'll definitely go again next year. But it's just weird the fact that he hasn't played this year. It's just like, again, I go back to it. Didn't play the first, calf strain. Said he'd be out for like the first 2 weeks. Hasn't played the whole tournament. And look, listen, CSK, they've done a good job without him. But sometimes you feel like he might have just been needed just to kind of support Rutaraj a bit more in terms of his captaincy. Helping out behind the stumps, and obviously, the guy can still bat. Obviously, the guy can still bat. So you feel like he has been missed, which is crazy because I didn't think I'd say that at the start of the season. But next season it's going to be very important for them to. It's going to be very important to them, and for them to let it be known to the fans of what the role MS Dhoni will play next season. Because I don't think CSK fans will accept him having another year just playing, like not playing at all. But I do think he will play more next season, and he will end up probably getting that farewell in Chennai next season.
Yeah, I mean it'll be difficult because essentially he'll have a whole year to prepare for it, and
Yeah,
if it comes like when it gets close to tournament time next season, and if he's not there, maybe we don't even see him at all, or maybe we see him for like 2 or 3 games. So we
okay.
hope for IPL's sake and for India's sake and for CSK's sake, maybe that he is fully fit and maybe he is that sort of like player they need because I know his role these days is very limited to just being a finisher who probably bats 15 balls max at times.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, those can be the difference. And we've seen a lot of times with CSK, those have been the difference, particularly in the batting department.
Yeah.
Um,
And also
yeah,
what I said what I've just said about Rutaraj, I feel like at times he's kind of failed a bit as a captain. I
yeah,
think having Dhoni behind the stumps with his experience and stuff, it would have helped him massively. So yeah, he has been a miss. As I said, I didn't think I'd be saying that, but he has been a miss, like a big one, because I just feel like his experience could have helped Gaikwad out so much in his captaincy.
yeah, that's a very good point. And then moving on to a team who just clinging on to fourth place are the Punjab Kings. They don't look very convincing, though. I mean, they've lost 6 in a row after winning 6 out of their first 7 games, which one game was rained off.
Yeah,
And to me, what strikes to me is their home form. They just can't buy a win, whether it is in New Chandigarh or Dharamshala. In fact, since 2023 season, they've only won 8 out of 28 games at home, whether it be Dharamshala, New Chandigarh. Yeah, I mean, it's just not a good sign for a Punjab team, given that the playoffs are in Dharamsala and New Chandigarh before the final.
yeah,
I mean, where has it all gone wrong for this Punjab side? I mean, I've not seen a group of players lose the amount of form they have in a short span of time. I mean, how do you put it? Where's this come from? Where's this sort of collapse come from this Punjab side?
it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I just think there's a lot of things that are going wrong at the moment. You know, like I talk about all the time, but fielding, man, they've been so bad in the field this tournament when it comes to like dropping catches, misfields, letting the ball go through them and stuff like that for boundaries. It does like massively. Fielding is the most important aspect in the game. It's usually, as I said, I've said many times, it's the barometer of how your team's doing. If you're like, if you're dropping that many catches and stuff, and you're having a lot of misfields and stuff, it usually reflects that your team's not in a good place. And so I look at that. I look at the fact that I don't think they've got the death bowling right. I think a lot of their bowlers haven't been in the best of form. Chahal had a great start, but really been hasn't really had much impact at all in the last 4 or 5 games. I think Um, Arshdeep, I think in terms of death bowling, they've gotten it wrong. I think Jansen's not been had his best of tournaments. Arshdeep struggled at the death. So bowling wise, they've gotten a lot wrong as well. And I just think batting wise, a lot of players. Obviously, there've been players like Cooper Connolly's and Priyansh's and Prab Simran's, and obviously Shreyas as well. They've done well, but you feel like in key moments, and I look at that RCB game, they needed two or three players to stand up to allow Shashank and Stoinis to finish that game off at the end, but they just didn't. And I feel like that's happened quite a bit as well recently, where Shreyas hasn't really had much form in the last 3 weeks of this tournament, and the same with Priyansh and Prab Simran. So I think there's a lot going wrong, but if if they're gonna want to save face and at least get qualification, they're gonna have to sort it out for this LSG game, because you can't lose 6 games in a row and think to yourself, yeah, we're still in a good place and we're still doing very well. You just can't do that. You're going to need to change a lot and just change the kind of mentality right now, because as I said, right, it's just in the gutter the way they're playing and what they're doing. So they're going to need to change, and they're going to need to get a win. Just any kind of win, no matter what it is, whether it's a dominant one or you just barely scrape through. They just get a win against LSG and try and just book yourself in for the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's do or die essentially, and we never thought we'd be saying that.
Exactly.
After the halfway point, anyway. But
Yeah.
I mean, just on that RCB game, or just in recent games in general, it just feels like the top 4 in general, they haven't really found rhythm all at once. It's been sort of bits and pieces.
Yeah.
There's been games where Shreyas Iyer's done okay, but then there's been games where he's not done well. Same with the openers as well. We saw the RCB game; they both got dismissed within first couple of overs.
3
And
yeah, exactly.
So it's just not been, it's just not clicked as we've seen, especially last season and for the first part of this season, where we saw all the battles were just all guns blazing. And yes, we did mention that bowling was a slight weak point where one or two bowlers would go at an economy of 13-14, and they haven't really fixed that, have they? I mean, we've seen Arshdeep going for 40 runs again, Lockie Ferguson again, and they tried bringing in Azmatullah Omarzai, the Afghan pace, and they didn't really impact things that they'd hoped for, because the likes of Dwarcius wasn't performing as the management thought they would anyway. So,
Exactly.
yeah, like I say, it's just been a dip in form in all aspects, bowling, batting, and fielding for this Punjab team. And essentially, if they do play first before Rajasthan, I think I could be wrong. They play Lucknow first, so essentially they can win to put the pressure on Rajasthan, and they've just got to hope Mumbai do them a favour. I mean, that is what it's come down to, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Which is crazy, because as I said, when you win your first 6 games, everyone thinks that everyone looked at Punjab like the team to beat. But it just shows you about this tour. It's such a long tournament, the IPL, where things can just change drastically. You lose one game and it could just completely spiral out of control. I just think last season their batting was so strong, so powerful. And bowling wise, yeah, they had a couple of bowlers that might have gone for a few runs. But the main guys in Arshdeep, Chahal, and Jansen as well. And there may be others with like Xavier Bartlett's and your Lockie Ferguson's and stuff. They were the ones that really stepped up, and they kind of helped the other bowlers in terms of just giving them all the support possible. But Chahal's not bowled very well recently. It's just that simple. Same with Arshdeep, same with Jansen. Jansen ended up getting dropped, which is crazy because I don't think anyone expected that. But it just shows you right now that they're just not been in a good place recently. And as I said, they're gonna have to just win against LSG, put all the pressure on Rajasthan, because that would be ridiculous if they don't qualify after what everyone was thinking at the start of the season, how strong they were looking and how good they were halfway through the season. To end up not qualifying would be a massive, massive, massive shock. So yeah, they're just gonna have to win. Just no matter how it is, just win.
Yeah, and on paper you want to say you back them against Lucknow, but even that game's gonna be difficult. Lucknow just sort of playing for pride, and yeah, Punjab continue with the mistakes, and it's gonna be tough for Ricky Ponting and co. especially the coaching selection, because they probably don't even know who their best team is anymore with the amount of chopping and changing they've done, trying to buy a
Crazy
win.
that
So,
yeah, it's crazy that Ricky Ponting, an Australian coach, one of the best fielders of all time, cannot properly coach a fielding setup. Like,
oh yeah, he's pulling his hair out right now. He probably might not have
he's
any
got to
left by
be.
the end of the season.
They're, dro- they're dropping like 3 catches a game. They have about 8 misfields a game.
Yeah,
Like,
and I don't want
where's
to
the
hear
discipline?
about high altitude in Dharamshala or anything. Like, come
No,
on. There's the
like
basic catches I'm seeing being dropped.
where's the discipline in the team? Where's like the
Exactly.
standards in the team? Like I go back to the start of the season where Arshdeep Singh was bowling 11 ball overs. And it's just like where's your standards? Like you're experienced players. This should be easy, not easy, but like you should be able to do these things like in your sleep because of your experience. Like where are your standards? Where are your they just haven't shown it at all. They're just completely gone. Like missing.
Yeah. Just one final thing on Punjab then. Do you think, in a way, they've been like figured out, or is it just down to them just being ill-disciplined, like just not performing? Because I noticed in previous years you sort of see that in the trend. As we mentioned in the previous episode, we've seen teams start off really hot and then just fall off a cliff. Is that a case with them, or like are teams just figuring them out, or is it, like I said, is it just them just being poor?
I don't think it's a thing of like them being figured out. I think it's just as I say, I think it's just them being poor, the ill discipline, because you can't have as bad a fielding performances as they've had and expect to just like be fine, and then you can't be as poor as they have been with the ball, especially at death overs, where they're conceding so many runs at the death, and it'd be fine. So I think it is a lot of ill discipline as well. I don't think it's a thing of them being found out, because the way they've lost games, they haven't like lost games where like they've the 6 games they've lost, they haven't really looked competitive in those 6 games. They're gonna need to do a lot more if they're gonna obviously end up qualifying, and if they're gonna have any plans of winning this tournament, obviously they're gonna need luck first of all, and they're just gonna need to get back to that Punjab team of last season where they were all guns blazing, and everyone looked at them and said, "This is the strongest team." They're gonna have to get back to that, because if they don't, then they won't be in the qualifiers.
I mean, I don't want to ask for your prediction yet of whether they're qualified because I want to move on to the next team. Who apologies, they actually occupy the 4th spot, not Punjab, in Rajasthan Royals. And after a big win today against Lucknow, that's the reason why they're in 4th spot. And yeah, with Rajasthan, it's sort of been a tale of two halves in their season. I mean, they've started off really well. They sort of had a dip in the middle where results weren't going their way. And now they've sort of found a mini resurgence at the right time as well. And yeah, I mean, for them, it's just one more game, one win, and you qualify, regardless of any scenarios or outcomes. And yeah, for Rajasthan as well, the 15-year-old, you have to keep talking about him. And it helps as well because Jaiswal, who was losing it a little bit, he seems to be back in form a little bit.
Yeah.
But Suryavanshi and Jaiswal, we mentioned it right at the start of the tournament, they are probably the most destructive pairing. And we're starting to see that destructive pair come to life again. And Suryavanshi is actually now the orange cap holder, which the race for the orange cap is extremely tight, by the way. From first
Yeah.
to seventh, there's like under 50 runs in it. So
Yeah.
yeah, just for Rajasthan, unlike Punjab, it is about getting their players back in form at the right time, and that could provide them with a playoff spot.
Oh, definitely. Just the thing with Vaibhav is like it's like we're taking it for granted. Like a 15-year-old to be doing this.
It's sounding more normal every day. It's crazy.
Exactly. 579 runs at a strike rate of 236. Like I don't. Do you understand how crazy? Do you understand how mental that actually is for a
Yeah.
15-year-old to be doing that? Like, that's ridiculous. And I mean, the way he's played in this tournament, like obviously last season everyone looked at him and was like, "Whoa, this kid's like." For a 14-year-old to be doing this kid is obviously for real. But everyone kind of thought this season, it's a full season. There's going to be more expectation on him. How's he going to handle the pressure? God, the guy's just belted the ball all around the park. And I mean, today as well, it's just like, he just makes it look so easy, that like ball striking. Like, I've never seen anything like it. He's taken on top quality international bowlers, world class bowlers, and he's making batting look like the easiest thing in the world. He's just hitting them for sixes effortlessly. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, it's crazy.
I I don't even know what to say like about it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and I feel like it's been a bit of a detriment to him as well. A bit of a detriment to the team as well, because it feels like the team's been so reliant on him because Jaiswal's not been in the best of form, as you said. I mean, Parag got dropped today. I don't know if that's like injury
Yeah,
or
yeah.
anything, but he hasn't really been in much form. You know, Hetmeyer's not been in any form and stuff. It feels like it's been Vaibhav Suryavanshi, and then everyone else in that Rajasthan team. So yeah, I think for them it's just simple: just win, beat Mumbai, and you'll go through. But man, you feel like if they're going to go through, they're going to need some more of their batters to step up. They have to have more of their batters step up. They can't just be relying on Suryavanshi. Because, I mean, the way he's playing, you probably could, because it feels like he's just going to score runs every game. But you can't be banking on that to win you a tournament. You need more support. I think their bowling's pretty good. I think their bowling has been pretty good all tournament. But they just need more from, especially important batsmen. And it was good to see Jaiswal get back in form and kind of get that score to get a decent score today. They just need more, along with Suryavanshi, and they'll be in that qualifier, and they'll be a threat to any team in that qualifier because of how powerful their batting lineup is.
Yeah, I mean, the storylines are there. 15, probably youngest ever IPL winner, potentially. I mean, they've still got a long road ahead.
I mean,
And they could still yet miss out.
I don't know anyone else who's like at the age of 15 that would be playing IPL cricket.
Oh, no, yeah. It probably won't happen until God knows. I mean, you say that, though, but I feel like in sports in general, you just feel like the average age of like players breaking through into top leagues and national teams is getting younger by the day. I mean, we see football 16-year-olds,
I know, but
cricket 15-year-olds. I wouldn't be
but he
surprised
was-
in like 10 years' time we see the next 14 or 13-year-old break through into international sport.
But I mean, he was 13 when he got picked up by Rajasthan in the IPL.
Crazy. Yeah.
13. He scored the second fastest T20 at 14 years of age.
Yeah. I saw a stat as well where it was like he's got one of the highest strike rates off pace length deliveries. That's not easy to do, especially with the amount of talent there is in the IPL, the quality.
Look at the sixes he's hit in this tournament off the likes of Bumrah, Hazelwood,
Yeah.
Bhuvi. Like,
List goes on.
world-class international bowlers. He is making it look like the easiest thing in the world. I've never seen anything like it where a young player, I've said it so often, this is, like, obviously I never saw him play, but this is like a 16-year-old Tendulkar playing, going into international cricket. Obviously it's different. He played test cricket against like Wazir Akram and Waqar Younis. But the way Vaibhav's playing, the impact that he's had, and the kind of stature and the magnitude of all the expectations and everything and the hype surrounding him. India probably haven't seen this level of talent since Tendulkar. So, I mean, I don't even know what to say like about him. I don't know. Sky's the limit for him. Like, genuinely, he could be in 10 years' time. He could be one of the best batsmen that has ever lived. Like, or maybe in 15 years.
Yeah, he's got such a long way to go, and I just hope it goes well for him because
Exactly.
I don't want to be negative, but there's still a lot that could go wrong. But the way his trajectory is sky's the limit. And we saw India announce the ODI and Test squads for the Afghanistan series at home after the IPL. I know India taught Ireland. I don't want to say, but there could be talks of Suryavanshi being called up.
There's an opportunity, definitely. I think, especially
the stats back it up, and the thing is, at this point, I wouldn't even be surprised if he did, and would be starting for India soon.
I mean, anybody who's like in the orange cap, especially if you're Indian, you're always going to have a chance of being selected. People are just going to look at it and say, this and say, yeah, but he's 15. You don't want to fast track him. If he's good enough at this age of 15,
why not?
Just play him. Give him that experience of playing for India. Like, as I said, if he has this kind of experience and he carries this momentum forward, who knows what he could be in 15 years' time? He could be he could be bigger than he could. There's potential he could be better than the likes of Tendulkar and stuff. Because I never saw Tendulkar playing these kind of like world class bowlers like this and hitting them as consistently as he has. So genuinely, sky is the limit for the kid, and he's going to have to play such a massive part if Rajasthan want to end up winning this tournament. They're going to need, as I said, more support from other batsmen. But man, the kid is just the kid's special. It's a special talent.
Yeah, and just on the rest of the team, I don't want it to be that we're all focused on Vaibhav, as we should, though.
Yeah.
They did bring in Sandeep Sharma for this game. They dropped Adam Milne, and they brought in Ravi Singh for, I think it was, Sushant Mishra, another pace bowler. So they have been changing in terms of the bowling lineup as well to accompany the likes of Archer, Brijesh Sharma, who I thought's really done, the spinner as well. So.
Yeah.
How do you sort of make of that? Is it just a case of just trying out sort of a roll of the dice in terms of what's the best combination for the paces, and I mean to get sort of the desired outcome? Is it that sense, or do you think it's a deeper issue in terms of there's a reason why they've made those changes?
Um, it's it's hard because I think
Because even Rian Parag was dropped today, so who knows if
yeah,
he will play the final game?
exactly. I feel like it's just one of those where I still don't know if they know what their best lineup is. I think at the start of the season they changed a lot in terms of who that or the bowler's going. So Archer's obviously going to play every game. Like Archer's been phenomenal this season, especially with the ball. Well, obviously with the ball, but I just feel like not many other players have supported him. I don't know where Ravi Bishnoi gone.
Yeah,
he's
I know we were raving about him the first couple of
yeah.
episodes, and I don't think he's picked up a wicket since.
I
Could be wrong.
don't know where I don't know where Ravi Bishnoi's gone. I feel like he's not.
Yeah,
He's disappeared off the face of the earth for the last like 4 weeks. I don't know where he's gone at all, but you feel like they just need other bowlers like to support Archer because it's the same with their batting. They need other players to support the main guy. They need, you know, like Sandeep Sharma 3 overs none for 43. It's not what you want from an experienced player, you know. So other players, as I said, other players just gonna have to step up. Other players gonna have to step up and support Archer because Archer's doing such a brilliant job. They need more support.
yeah. Just I know we touched on Robbie Bishnoi, but I feel like spin in general this season has sort of struggled. Because in terms of the purple cap leaderboard, it's only Rashid Khan in the top 10, and he's down in six with only 16 wickets compared to Bhuvneshwar at the top.
Yeah, he struggled at the start of the tournament as well.
Exactly.
It's like a lot of spinners, I think, started off really well. I look at Chahal started brilliantly. Bishnoi, I think Suyash for RCB started really well.
Yeah.
But
I was just saying, would you say it's just a case of the pitches being flatter?
yeah, probably.
Smaller boundaries, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and also as well, I don't think spinners, especially recently when I've watched a lot of spinners like Chahal and Suyash and stuff, they've got their lengths completely wrong. Like they're not really bowling like. They're going for a lot of runs. Like they're not bowling great. Their lengths and everything have just been wrong. So maybe it might just be a deeper issue, like in Indian cricket right now, where a lot of spinners just aren't. They may have started well, but they're just for some reason recently just not really hitting the mark.
Yeah, I think it gets to a point where spin bowlers start to bowl defensively after they've been tonked around for like 6 and a 4. So they don't sort of toss it up as much because they know they could just go for 6 and a 4, whatnot. So they end up bowling defensively. So that's probably is the reason why they're not picking up as many wickets as we think they would anyway.
Yeah, true. But it does feel weird that now there's a lot of spinners that just haven't just disappeared, like, genuinely.
Yeah, but yeah, like we mentioned, the front runner for 4th place probably will be between Rajasthan and Punjab. I mean, unless you think there's an outside chance if it wasn't just between those two. Rajasthan do seem favourites, but who do you think is likely to pick up 4th? I mean, both teams need favours either way, so it's like
Rajasthan because they had Mumbai last. So
yeah.
But no, I still think it is Rajasthan because
Yeah.
Punjab, you lose 6 games in a row. It is all the pressure now is on this game, and that can work as obviously that can be a help. It just means you just put all your effort into one game, but it can also be a hindrance as well, where there's so much pressure, a lot of players start feeling it. So I think Rajasthan will be the more suited going into it. They'll be better off going into it, and I think they'll be the ones that most likely get the job done. So I think they'll finish fourth.
Yeah, and I do think Punjab's net run rate is a little bit higher, but that'll probably go out the window if Rajasthan do win. And I don't think there's any rain in Punjab's game, or will be rain affected anyway, so they can't just like sneak their way in with a point
Yeah.
if
Punjab,
Rajasthan do lose.
well, Punjab, the only thing they can do is just win and just put the pressure on Rajasthan. That's all they can do.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
pressure can work in different ways, as I said, when you get to that point.
definitely.
But if they lose, then it's done. So they have to make sure they just win the game. Forget about net run rate. Forget about all that stuff. Just win the game and put all the pressure on Rajasthan going into the last game. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, and there's one more team. There's one more team with a slither of hope. And to be fair, they actually do have 2 games left, and it is the Kolkata
Yeah.
Knight Riders. And yeah, in a way, they've done really well to pull things back. And you just feel that game against RCB just halted their momentum because that game was there for them. It was poised.
Yeah.
I feel like they pulled things back really well, particularly with the ball. But I just feel like, as we mentioned already, RCB's firepower is too much. But besides that, I think they've been excellent in these recent 5 or 6 games. And I know we mentioned last episode, it may have just been a little bit too late, but there is still a chance. But
Somehow, yeah.
somehow, anyway, but I mean, unlike RR, they probably need every result to go their way. They probably
Yeah.
need Mumbai to win. They need Lucknow to win. So they're probably asking for a lot. They need Gujarat to win, which is probably more likely of the 3. But I really do want to give them hope, and I really do think they've improved. But I do just think it's the end of the road. I mean, how do you see it? Final 2 games, Mumbai tomorrow, and then Delhi, the last game of the league phase. It can be a point where even if they win both those games, it may not even qualify regardless. So, how do you see
Yeah.
it?
I mean, there was a point 2 years ago where I was like halfway through the season where I was like, yeah, RCB, they won't ever qualify. And then we qualified. So it's happened before. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just think, sorry, I think for them, the fixtures they have aren't bad because Mumbai and Delhi, 2 teams that you can beat. But it's just going to be a case of if it's just one result doesn't go their way, then it's done. But it's happened before where it has. So, I mean, there's a chance. There is a chance, but it's it's like that classic thing where it's like 1% possibility, 99% faith, basically.
Yeah,
They won't. They probably won't. But if they do, then there'll be some turnaround. But I think
yeah,
even still, they turned this tournament around really well from the start.
definitely.
So
I mean,
I give them credit for that.
yeah, we've seen Finn Allen rediscover that T20 World Cup form we saw with New Zealand with that knock
Yeah.
against the Gujarat Titans, 93 not out. I mean, it was just that probably was such an underrated knock. He really deserved 100. 4 4s, 10 sixes, sort of that destructive innings we know. And then Ankush Raghuvanshi at number 3 sort of backed him up. And then we've seen Cameron Green, like, he was probably memed as like flop of the tournament or worst signing. And he's held himself to a respectable level. So the players, obviously, they've signed and they'd hope would come good, are starting to come good. But as we mentioned, it is a little bit too late.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just feels tough because it's weird because all the players are coming back at the right time. We saw Matisha Patirana as well. There is a slight concern with him, obviously, with injury struggles as well. The
I mean,
injury,
he came in
1.2 overs.
1.2 overs and went straight away. I don't think
Yeah,
he'll play. I don't think he'll play.
yeah.
I think KKR's bowling's actually been pretty good. Like since obviously the start. I think Chakravarti and Narayan. Chakravarti's got back into form, so that's good for them. Narayan's obviously been very good all tournament in terms of his economy rates. I think the pace bowling's gotten better. I think,
Yeah. It's the spin trio mainly. I think it's been
yeah,
really good.
the pace bowling has gotten better, except for maybe some exceptions. People might look at Vaibhav Arora and say, especially against RCB, he didn't play well. He didn't bowl particularly well. But I think there are other key players like Kartik Tyagi is one of them. Like I've looked at
Yeah.
Kartik Tyagi this season,
His pace
and
looks really good.
he's really grown like as a bowler,
Mm.
and this has been one of his best seasons in the IPL, I'd say.
Yeah.
So it's really good to see him developing and getting better. So I think KKR can, even if they don't qualify, they can look at this season and say, yeah, it didn't start well. Maybe we didn't get combinations right at the beginning, but you know what, we can look back on this with a bit more pride, knowing that we've managed to turn it around and end the season relatively well.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we mentioned, for a lot of these teams, there is still a slither of hope. I just find it extraordinary that still 8 teams are going to end up fighting for 4 spots, or in the end will be
Yeah,
fighting for 4 spots. And I think it's 4 teams fighting for just 1 spot now, for fourth place. So yeah, it's incredible. And to be fair, we didn't really touch on the Gujarat Titans, but I did feel in that game against KKR, their batting power at times, it's just a strike rate. I just feel like
yeah,
if a team sets a big target and it comes to that in the playoffs, I mean, we see the firepower of SRH, RCB. If one of them bats first, sets a target of 220, 230 plus. I'm not really confident in this Gujarat side chasing it down. Even with the personnel they've got and the consistency, guys like Gill, Sudarshan, even Butler have shown. I don't know about you, but I just feel like this Gujarat team, there is a hole in their batting. It's weird because they're consistent, but they're not flamboyant as like a Suryavanshi Jaiswal or like Abhishek
yeah.
Kishan. I mean, I don't know how you see it because I feel like their bowling is, but I think their bowling is the best out of everyone. But I just feel like their batting and
Yeah.
the firepower of their batting is holding them back.
Well, I think that's also a reflection of the kind of batsman that Shubman Gill and Sai Sudarsan are. But also, again, I've said it many times. Gujarat's so reliant on that top three. I know, obviously, players like
Yeah,
Washington Sundar,
it looks a lot
Washington Sundar.
worse. It looks a lot worse
Yeah,
when their middle order isn't firing as well.
like, I know Washington Sundar's had a good season and stuff, especially with the bat. So I think players have had. There's been good players, but they just feel like they're so reliant on that top three all the time. So of course, the top three are going to falter a bit in terms of strike rates because if they're not going to do it, not many other players will. So that's one thing I will say about that. It's very important for Gujarat that if they do actually end up winning this tournament, they're just going to need the top three to deliver in pretty much every game. And of course, with that bowling lineup, that will cause any team problems. But yeah, you said it. They're definitely going to need more from other players. And yeah, the firepower will always be in question because strike rates. I mean, we're at a point now in T20 cricket and IPL cricket where Shubman Gill strike rate of 173 against KKR, and that was considered a bad knock. He scored 85 and out a strike rate of 173, and you consider that to be an underwhelming knock. It's crazy that how far the IPL has come in terms of batting. But yeah, I just think if they're gonna want to qualify, maybe some players are gonna have to step up more, and maybe that can allow players like Butler and Gill and Sudarshan to maybe increase their strike rates and get them up to even bigger scores than they already get.
Yeah, I agree, and yeah, I think that should do it. I mean, we're almost there in terms of finding out the full 4 teams that will be in next week's playoffs, and
Yeah,
what's more important is the order because in terms of the playoffs, for those who don't know how it works, it's qualifier 1 is first against second, and essentially whoever does lose that does get second chance, and they'll play the winner of third v fourth with the loser going home, and yeah, and they essentially play um,
in the
for a
qualifier.
place to meet the
Yeah,
qualifier 1 winner in the final, which will be in Ahmedabad. So it is interesting, and just I want to get your final prediction in terms of the. I know we've given the 4 teams, and we've got 3 of them already, but just the order. I'll go first. I'm going to say RCB. I'm going to say Gujarat because I think Gujarat will beat Chennai, and I feel like RCB will beat SRH. So I'm going to say SRH third, Then I'm going to say Rajasthan fourth. What's your prediction?
I'll go RCB 1 because it's just that net run rate is so strong. Like it's going to take when I say a monumental collapse, it's going to take a monumental collapse against SRH to, even if we lose that game, it's going to take a big loss to drop out of the top 2. So I got RCB 1. I never thought I'd be saying that as a fan, but RCB 1. I might actually go SRH second because I think SRH might beat us. I think they might beat us. I think
Fair
their
enough.
batting's just, especially at the Rajiv Gandhi Stadium, their batting is just so stacked and so powerful. So I got SRH 2. So Gujarat 3, and then I'm gonna go Rajasthan 4. I don't think Punjab will get through. I think Punjab will beat LSG, but I think Rajasthan will
hold the nerve.
Yeah, I think they'll hold the nerve against Mumbai and they'll get through.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it. Let's see if none of those come true. I'm kidding, but I mean, we've got 3 qualified.
It never does. It never does.
Yeah, no, it's just the IPL. It'll throw every spanner in the work. I mean, it's just the way this season's gone in general. There's just been ebbs and flows of teams, of how things have gone. But yeah, I mean, let's see. I mean, I think the final league phase is on the Sunday, the 24th. That's the final day of the Premier League, the last game of the season. So I might have 2 screens, 3 screens, God knows.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Arsenal, unfortunate for some way, will crown Premier League champion. So I'm probably just be rooting for a West Ham win and a Spurs loss. That's my take on it, anyway.
The entire country.
Yeah. I mean, we saw Spygate with Southampton, so Championship's not easy. You got to cheat to win sometimes. So maybe I just hope we don't see that in the IPL.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you reckon we'll ever get Spygate in the IPL? You don't really need Spygate in the IPL, do you? Just like, what.
I mean, we've had a betting drama in the past, haven't we? So I don't know if we'll end up seeing it topping it.
You know what every team's like in the IPL? Like, you don't need to spy Abhishek Sharma.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of batting is? What kind of...
Yeah. Yeah, God knows. Anything to gain an edge, I guess.
Yeah, no. Yeah, true.
Yeah, but yeah, it's going to be drama up until the 24th of May. And then we'll have another episode recapping the full list of teams in the playoffs, breaking down each team and their chances of securing glory for the IPL 2026 season. Once again, Dejan, it's been a pleasure for hopping on. Be sure to check out the Sports News Blitz website and to check us out on YouTube and Spotify. Once again, many thanks to all the viewers and to the listeners, and goodbye.